tournament server. It seems L5 can connect correctly, but for some reason GG is having problems. So it seems to be some sort of internet issue.
Yeah, we don't know what the exact problem is,
Yeah.
but it seems it is almost been fixed. But from the video, guys, if you have seen just now, Twin Blade is not the way to go. Even usually taunt. Please choose taunt, and
Yes.
I will report. No, no, I will not like if you guys go for the Twin Blade, please, as a variant.
I actually
Were you the guy?
I play it sometimes. It's so fun when you're winning.
I'll
When
see
you're
you
winning,
after cast.
when you're winning, it's super fun because when you're ahead, you do so much damage.
When you're ahead and then you fall back behind
I'm
right
just
after.
saying, if it's a stop and you just walk forward with it, you're like you're unstoppable machine.
But you are stoppable though.
Sure, not if I'm cleansed though.
Oh, but not when I'm Lucio.
Not if I have Divine Shield on me. Not if I have Divine Shield and Sanctification and Cleanse on me at the same time. What are you going to do against that, my Twin Blades?
Oh, then you
Gonna try to Void Prison me? Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's actually, Void Prison actually is on top of everything else. Even Sank is cancelled by Void Prison.
Yeah, but then I pop out of Void Prison and I still am on the Sank and I'm on.
You're not.
Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
Well, that's it for variant. And moving along. So, what's your favorite cereal?
I like Fruit Loops. They're the best. I didn't really eat cereal that much growing up. I actually don't like my cereal with milk, and I don't like it with water either. That's even weirder. But I would like eat a little bit of Fruit Loops in the morning sometimes.
Oh
yes!
yes!
I guess we're fixed. I will announce proudly to everyone here on stream, because I know everyone's been wondering, but I did beat 2 levels of Dig Dug in the commercial break as well on my DS. So that was my personal achievement. But now we're going to this map finally. Let's see if we see Kerrigan get banned out here for L5. As you know, that's the extra cog in the wheels here, where when it in terms of getting that Vala pick up to the front lines. It's going to be a highlight here though for Kerrigan.
So glad to be back in the game. 2-0, L5 leading the series, of course, and GG. Looking forward to that Kerrigan ban. Of course, has to be either Kerrigan or Vala, whichever one they actually want to take. They are the first ban, but instead they're gonna leave it open and give the option to L5.
Well, I think they're considering taking it themselves. Well, they were. They're not going to anymore. Sad good. As the Vala ban. So realistically, the only way this is a Tassadar pick is if GG wants to do something similar than they did in the previous game, which didn't work for them, or go into a Tracer composition.
Yep, just to remind you guys, this is Infernal Shrines,
yes,
as many of you probably forgot because we had some time in between. But you can read, everyone can read what it says in Korean on top. So Vala, Kerrigan banned. Now this will be a little bit more of a standard since both queens are taken out. And there goes Tastar, and we may actually see Tracer again here. Come on.
It's possible. We didn't see it in the previous set. The Li Ming was removed, so it was a cool setup for a good game to run that composition. They didn't do it anyways, so not entirely sure what they'll do with this one here, but L5 will probably go into the Muradin Malfurion as the catch-all and wait to respond to what GG takes in second rotation, which is how L5 normally drafts.
Yep, L5 really hitting hard on that Muradin when they always have this rotations right after as a second pick. And GG last time Tastar with Lunara composition did not work so perfectly, but let's see what other plans they have along with Tastar. Tastar, of course, highly chosen because there are so many compositions you can make with Tastar, but not reveal what you're actually going to do later on.
Going to be the Li Ming instead of the Malfurion this time, and that's you know, definitely interesting considering this is not her strongest map. She doesn't do well on the shrines, and you know, she would have been better, obviously, in the previous map. She was banned by Good Game, so it didn't matter. But GG, now the ball's in their court. Do they grab the Tracer here? We're going to see another melee with the Tastar like the Sonya. As you can see in this tournament since week 1, this is going to be the 75th game of Li Ming. Almost feels like an anniversary or something. 75th game of Li Ming. Since skin scale, please, Blizzard, please. And that volleyball skin that G-Clef loves so much.
Yeah, the striker Li Ming.
Banned in competitive play though, sadly.
Yeah, but still, Li Ming, and I'm liking the Liming pick also. That also gives Gul'dan available for GG's side for that wave clear. Let's see if they actually go for that choice.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one. Wow, Zarya and the Kael'thas. So Kael'thas going to make an appearance here. This may lead L5 down the ETC ban path because Kael'thas ETC is so powerful. And you can have this strong mage very easily protected. It's really weird, though, that we're going to have Tastar, Zarya, and Kael'thas.
They're hiding something else.
Yeah, I feel like...
Yesterday from Mighty it was Julzin, but who knows what's going to come out for today. And L5,
yeah.
with that hidden, L5 is put into the question what they have to ban here. As Kael'thas, as Tempest and Knockdown played it on this Infernal Shrines few times before.
You just don't ever build a composition like this with a mage as your proprietary source of DPS, especially not Kael'thas, who's just not going to be able to do damage up on the front. He can get good gravity lapses and be a nice source of CC when he's in the front lines, but...
If they actually ban Arthas, I think they're thinking of Illidan maybe possibly coming out. But
it's definitely a strong choice here. It feels kind of obvious. L5 can respond. They already have the Muradin pick. The Liming's solid against the Illidan because he can't evade those big ability damages from coming out. Malfurion is going to be the choice of ban here. They can't choke L5 out of anything. They don't want to show anything with this ban, so they're just going to remove the highest tier support.
And you saw Swoi just stomping and really making the big... It's not the highlight of the team fight, but it made big differences within all the team fights because Swoi has been putting that root on the perfect choke points that really splitting the team of GG.
Look at Hooligan's face.
They have something.
They definitely have something planned, and I lean towards the Illidan. It's going to be perhaps a solo tank Zarya, if you will, with this. In the past, when you would see compositions like this, we would see the solo Kael'thas, we would see the solo Liming with the melee, with the Tastar as a secondary support, but it wouldn't be a Zarya, it would be a Tyrael, right? And they could, you know, if they could have run Tyrael instead of the Zarya if they wanted to run that Illidan. Yep, and it would run well into the Liming, so I don't know if this is going to be an Illidan. I frankly just couldn't tell you what they have planned. It's just, we're just going to have to wait and see.
It's going to be more likely a melee or even a Grey main. It's still available, and L5 should know a few options there and should, as they actually have the last pick to counter what after GG picks their last. That's one of
the scary things about how GG is drafting this, is it leaves that counter potential open for L5. I think this is probably going to be, if they expect a melee, a Rhaegar pick coming out. Otherwise, it's going to be the Kharazim. So with the Rhaegar here and the Ragnaros, I feel like they expect a melee. I'm going to build into this solo ranged Liming for the time being to leave the counter pick available.
Usually when MVP Black drafted into a 5th pick Illidan, they were always usually the 2nd pick because they wanted that last pick to be Illidan. It was kind of obvious to actually have that with Tastar, and that was before Zarya, but too.
And this was a different meta entirely, where Tyrael and the melee carry meta was so prevalent, and we saw Illidan almost banned every game as a result. So with this available here, GG will absolutely consider it. Would I see the look of the faces here, though?
I think they have one chosen, but they're thinking about the other one to actually finish the draft, I think. Tyrael, of course, does work and can save Kael'thas, Zarya in the front line.
But it's, if you bring a Tyrael out here in a support, you just don't have enough consistent damage with Kael'thas. Diablo and Kharazim are going to be the picks, so...
My goodness.
This feels like a very weak composition. I believe that's BDG on camera, who does not look to be too enthused about this this situation. He'll likely be on the Diablo himself.
Maybe they were thinking about taking Rag instead, and they lost it and just went straight into the nexus of thinking.
For L5 here, just going to take a safe ranged. It's going to be the Tychus, as he's still available. Can help burst down Diablo. There's a lot of protection for Diablo, but there's not much to combo with his APOC, so I just feel like when I look at the draft of GG, no matter how I rack my brain to figure out what it was designed to do, I can't find the answer. And they have a lot of poke, they have a lot of wave clear, and contesting shrines are going to have to take an early lead in order to make it work. But I don't know if this is going to work against a world-class team, a two-time global world championship team in L5. L5 just tries to draft standard here and respond as they look to take their third game in a row to close this series out as we move into Infernal Shrines. Let's jump into this third game, see if GG can bring it back. In blue, good game with Kel'Thas for BDG. Jaehyun on the Diablo. Good on Tastar, Hooligan on Zarya, and Wujay on Karzim. So a really weird lineup in terms of positions.
And in red, L5, SCSC on Tygus, Nitrogen, and Li-Ming. Jungha on Ragnarok, Noblesse on Morden, and Swoi on that Rhaegar.
So BDG on the Kel'Thas, the most normal of all of these, as we have Jaehyun, the support player, who did briefly on First Family play the tank role in Season 3 in 2016. So he has some experience in that role, playing the Diablo here. And we go into the Convection build here, so it's important that stacks are given to BDG, and he does not killed for any reason. There's no heavy carry or melee. There's not a ton of CC on the side of L5, so this is a fairly safe choice. But keep an eye on BDG to see if he gets picked for any reason, as that's going to really severely impact how much damage he can put off going into the mid-game.
Yep, and Swoi does get caught by that grab blast, and barely enough damage to actually finish off the kill. Wujay just dashes into it.
A lot more CC on the side of GG, so in the early game you expect things like this to happen, especially when you see overextensions like we just saw there from Swoi, who has very few games played on the Rhaegar. In fact, this is going to be his 5th this tournament. 16 on Malfurion before today, so make that 17. And you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this early game is crushing in favor of GG's composition, and also the first shrine could certainly go to them because they have the CC, they have the poke for Kel'Thas to secure those last skeletal defenders. It's just later on that I worry for them. See if they have enough consistent damage with the Kel'Thas to win more extended fights. See the dive here onto Hooligan in the top lane.
Look, walking straight along with that meteor is not the way to go sometimes. And it took a lot of damage, but survive at the end. Is this going to be, not likely, but a Pyroblast onto Li-Ming?
I was thinking about it, but you know, it's tough to actually make that happen if the positioning of Nitrogen is good, which it has been so far. Especially yesterday, as I was really, really impressed with his Li-Ming play. They don't win the beginning of this, but they do wrestle control. I'm talking about good game, of course, as they have the comp that has the better CC. They can't you know, aggressively position themselves too far forward with the two types of damage that can come in and poke. It's a fairly even trade, 22 to 21 currently. Here's Jaehyun coming in with the toss over the shoulder here. Swoi uses his wolf bite to try to escape, but he doesn't get out. It's going to be a 1-for-1 though. Nitrogen gets the resets and as Molten Core is popped.
And Molten Core has been popped indeed, and that's where all the damage came from. And sustaining Hooligan just at the end, bringing Tychus with him. But of course, that's not enough. And Molten Core
Wujay's going to go down here.
Is still on fire.
And despite the fact that Zarya had full energy there, they couldn't make this a winning trade. They could only make it even, and Wujay being out of mana had no way to escape. It's an Arcane Punisher here, the first one. So GG needed to win this first Immortal, or rather this first Punisher. They need to win the first Shrine, I feel, to really make this composition worth its weight in early game CC potential. They did not, and this means L5 is now a whole level ahead. Gets a free wall, splits to soak, by the way. Swoi in the top lane, and in the bottom lane, Jungha is soaking down there. So this is going to further their EXP lead. They got some structural damage done, and they just want to play this passively, as they know the longer the game goes on, the better the comp for them in terms of consistent damage.
Yep, and GG really has to follow that on, as Diablo, really not much CCs to actually come with the Pyroblast. Maybe we will also see lightning coming out again to just get the kills on the minions. That's also a possibility, as there's nothing really to pair up with APOC, I don't think.
Well, he's not going to go into Burn Flesh. Kel'Thas at level 4. Going to go into his Verdant Spheres instead. So it's a little bit more sustained.
And actually, wow, Tychus took Master Assassin at level 4. Going for that quest build instead of just chunking down with the minigun, or to just chunk down Diablo in the front line, going for that long quest.
Well, again, they want this game to go longer. They want to just stay even or slightly ahead with GG in this early game. So, you know, the longer the game goes, the more potential he has for this quest. So the Shaman Camp is going to get the second turret up here in the top lane.
Yeah, once that, of course, finishes, it's going to help with the attack speed on Tychus. And as we speak about the quest, Ragnar's just finished his Q quest.
Poor coordination on this rotation top to hit Jungha, as they revealed Kel'Thas first, unfortunately. Noblesse is going to walk away using his trait to heal. And this bot push, we didn't have a shot of it until just now, but with these Impalers, it's working really well. So they're going to split the pressure on the opposite side of where the shrine is. The shrine's located to the top. The main pressure is bot, which means L5 is going to have the advantage in terms of setup. They're going to have heroics as well. This is looking disastrous already for GG. Yes, they have 3 kills, but they're just so significantly behind in every other way.
Something that we saw from the beginning of the Shrine fight was that Diablo really picked well onto Swoi, and Swoi really couldn't really do much, but it took so long for actually to GG.
Oh! We're going to see that Haymaker go down.
Haymaker again.
Sorry to interrupt you there, because it wasn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be.
It's not enough damage was what I was trying to say. GG does not have that burst damage. Kel'Thas is the only burst damage they have, so that's going to put them in very hard for every single team fight. Even Noblesse, knowing that, just walks right into everything.
So he does go back into the Flame Strike here actually at level 7, despite taking the Verdant Spheres upgrade at 4. So he's kind of doing somewhat of a hybrid here. Kel'Thas is that, you know, as he tries to survive here to 10. As this top push goes on, it's a Mortar Punisher this time. I like what GG did there to commit to pushing the tower down in the bot lane. Oh, there's the Haymaker. BDG gonna lose stacks.
Perfect use of Haymaker there. And
finally we get to see it have that one amazing move, as so far it's been just kind of flashy but not effective. This works out really well. I like it against the solo mage here in BDG. But I like what they tried to do in the bot lane. It wasn't enough to get them heroics, though, because the Haymaker came out, because they counter-pushed that. Now they have this, the Shrine that's going to secure a keep wall. And finally, GG has 10. We're going to see the Apocalypse, and it is going to be Pyroblast, as you predicted. The attempted combo with that here, not going to go off. BDG will help secure the kill here onto Noblesse, though he didn't have that Avatar.
Yeah, they need more damage. They're 7-sided, and Molten Core pops for actually offensive here, and of course, GG has to retreat here. Jaeon stalls some time, tries to get some grab onto Natrojin, but Ancestral back into full health.
Yeah, because they were, I suppose, partially also scared. The Pyroblast is going to go off. Swoi is not going to get out of this one, sadly.
Natrojin trying his best.
Oh, just barely with the 3 there.
Wow.
That was well played.
Nice.
Pyroblast has so many different counters, natural or unnatural. That was a fairly unnatural way. Jungha does get blown up here from that Flame Strike, so they're trying to get those stacks back here once again. But this was just an overextension by L5, and the lack of hold that thought is we're going to see potentially more kills here. Natrojin, so good right now.
And even Hooligan from the right, trying to look for kills.
Look at SC's positioning. Oh my god, he does go down. Well, I can't even be mad.
Why is Jaeon all the way on the right? This is a game that's going to go on forever, but well, now GG has a lot more potentials, a lot more burst with that 7-sided and Pyroblast, of course. Even Archon will help on that consistent damage.
Yeah. There's a slight overextension there by L5, but they turned it around with their incredible mechanics to make this another positive exchange for them. The Haymaker has secured 1 kill, and it had a nice flashy attempted 2nd kill there. But you could see the trade-off here is the lack of sustain, the lack of health. It almost feels like Noblesse is playing as if he has the Avatar, but he does not. Has been picked here. But look, I want to see it more often. I want to see how this plays out, especially as we get into more competitive games, as say L5 against Black. You know, if he's still using it, then we'll know he does feel confident that it's going to work in all scenarios and all compositions.
Well, let's see a Noblesse and also pushes Tassadar away this time instead of Kel'Thuz, who has been in a safe position on the back. And Haymaker does come back pretty soon, so.
Yeah, it's a pretty short cooldown. He's not going full Q this time either, going into just the level 1 Q upgrade, and we'll go into the Iron Forge Momentum at 7 for the cooldown reduction. Good having so much shielding on here. It's tough to kill him when he also has that dimensional shift to escape. But this is another one Punisher here. It's the Frozen this time. L5 just trying to get the whole list of available Punishers here. Back-to-back captures as Nitrogen is going to harass and force everyone to be dismounted with that Disintegrate as the Punisher comes forward here. SC very aggressively positioned. Hooligan has nearly full energy, so this is very dangerous.
This is a 4v5 fight, and Kerazium actually goes down instead as CS gets Ancestral.
And that's the end of that fort, so they're going to go ahead and chase here. There's the stun onto BDG. He's got the shield on him. We're going to turn this on to Hooligan here. Noblesse and needs to use his trait to heal up. Is out of combat now as this is pushing all the way towards the keep ball. So Furious committed here onto Jaehyun on a follow-up damage, but the push continues. They want to get a keep off of this. It's going to require another pick in order to make it happen.
Even shielded at the right time. I'm liking the way that Tassadar is shielding his teammates at the time, but that's not enough as his Punisher just went down. That was a 4v5 fight with the Punisher, of course, but GG really having a hard time. And as CSC is caught with that zone.
He's super aggressively positioned himself in almost all of these fights. Does get out of there despite the expulsion zone. Jungha looks to go down, however. He tries to heal himself up with that Q. He's super low. He's trying to Molten Core. Will not get it off. So it's going to be a kill here for GG. Down a talent here. Once again, L5 perhaps pushing a bit too far and overextending.
It's kind of funny. A lava bursted from the Pyro.
He actually stays here to look for the Haymaker to get the kill on the Jaehyun. Sadly, not going to be enough, though.
Not going to be enough indeed. And Noblesse really low at the time, so he has to Dwarf Toss away. With that Haymaker, he has to really go with that healing static at 13 to heal himself back, but that's not enough as they are missing a member.
I just feel like the Haymaker has caused more trouble than it's worth so far. You know, if he had Avatar in almost every situation, yeah, maybe he doesn't get the pick at the beginning that he did on Kel'Thuz, but so far he hasn't been able to get much else. And I feel like Avatar would have allowed him to do so much more in so many different fights here. So just aggressively positioning himself, looking to get behind Jaehyun for the Haymaker once more.
Tychus is grabbed, but Ancestral to save himself, but that's not going to be enough, and SCSC will go down at the end.
Okay, it's going to be a 1-for-1 though, as they do get the pick onto Good. Ujay very low on mana here. It's a mistake perhaps to stay this long. Getting the Haymaker here onto BDG. He's isolated. Stormbolt connects. Noblesse wants more. Ujay solo on mana. And they're going to go for the chase here. Swoy's on the chase. He's going to have that wolf bite. Gets the bite off, and with Disintegrate, the kill is secured. Ujay just barely has enough mana to dash twice in order to get out of this one, avoiding that Molten Core damage. Things looked scary there for L5, but they turned it around.
Yep, and just focusing down on Tychus, that took a long time to just kill one with that Ancestral healing back as CSC, and really taking Master Assassin with that quest. It's taking a long time to melt down Diablo. Instead of, he could have chosen Bigger They Are to really melt down the full maximum health from Diablo, but
look at that percentage-based damage increase coming out on the Wolf Bite for Swoy as well at level 16, helping him to get that kill onto Kel'Thuz in that last exchange. That's going to be a fairly rare talent pick, but something that's really cool. And with how many times we've seen the attempted grab onto Jaehyun on the Diablo this game, I like it, because if the Haymaker goes off, perhaps that extra percentage-based damage is what they need to get that pick. And, you know, this Punisher already starting to be controlled here. 17-23. Skeleton Defenders taken down by L5. They had the positional advantage. They were here first. There is a slight bot push because there's no Siege Giants or anything like that. There's no Mercenaries, I should say. It's not going to be something that GG is too worried about right now. They're just looking to get 16 before they engage this fight. They have all heroics available. In fact, all 10 in this game are up right now as Psi Infusion does complete.
And this is going to be one.
They're just going to let this go, though.
Yeah, there was no way. It was very close to being done, and L5 was actually baiting for them to actually come in and try to take those minions when they could just finish it. So GG instead just goes around, and now they just have to defend.
Kind of a slow decision-making choice by them to let it go. They could have perhaps faked it a little bit better. and let it go later. Oh, hold that thought.
There's
That's the isolation they're looking for with the 7-sided.
Yep, and Haymaker seems to be not working. Didn't work so perfectly at the time, but even with Avatar, I think that was enough burst. Maybe with Pyro at the end.
All right, good Ancestral preemptively here onto Jungha to keep him alive.
And Jaehyun actually tossed him to stay alive.
Soy wants that kill onto Good. He gets the wolf bite, doesn't get the finish off though. Hooligan is stuck back here though as this keep is under fire. It's a Mortar Punisher who's adding his own extra damage into this fight, as they're going to try to push forward here onto the core. They have Molten Core with the 2 kills here. They want to end this game. They want to end this series. Jaehyun gets caught out of the Hall of Storms. Does barely get back inside, but Wu Jae will not be so lucky. It's going to be another reset here for Nacho Jin, who looks for the pick onto Good. They don't get it, and this means it's probably going to have to be a retreat here for L5. 10 seconds until Kael'thas is back up with BDG soon to be available. It just doesn't feel realistic to look for the core anymore.
If Noblesse has not been cut from the beginning, I don't think. Maybe they could have pushed a little bit more into the core, but that's just not.
Oh my god. What? That happened. Well, Good just didn't respect Nacho Jin's accuracy there. That's what happened. It's not going to be enough with the, again, stacks never finishing here for Kael'thas, completely reset back to 0. It's not going to be enough to secure them the win in this game, even with the pick there onto Good. But they're looking for 20 now. He's got this fort here. It's just a EXP bank waiting to be taken. Noblesse comes in for the Haymaker onto Hooligan. Jungha, though, committing to Jaehyun instead. 7-sided comes down. Expulsion Zone is placed here. Hooligan building that energy up. Looks like Noblesse is going to go down. He doesn't have that Avatar. Uses the static healing to keep himself a little bit longer, but 2 dead already on the side of L5. They took the fight before 20.
What a nice isolation from that Expulsion Zone made by Hooligan there. The entire team couldn't really help heal Noblesse or the Ragnaros back up from the front line.
Hey, we do see a Pyroblast attempted here onto SC, but immediately there was already the Ancestral to cover for him. Level 20 is now reached for L5 as we see them lock in Paul Roche, for example, on Li Ming. Jan should be able to get out of here. They don't want to lose any more members, though, as the death timers on Rag and Murden are ticking down now. Everyone's super low for GG, but I like this choice to actually commit. Just tap, don't hearth, and try to take a positional advantage when they have the numbers advantage. They only will for a few more seconds. L5 actually just retreats back. They're not going to care about this brief lead in numbers for GG. They're going to take this camp to pressure as they take the shrine, so this is well timed now. Muradin and Ragnaros are back up here. Molten Core should be up fairly soon if it's not up already.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst camp for GG's side, as if L5 stalls a lot of time here, the top lane will keep on pushing and that catapult will be on the core very soon. That's all they have to do, and also just to pressure into, because they have the higher level lead right now.
Okay, here we go. Already this is starting. 9 skeleton defenders down. GG is going to have to take a fight without 20, or they definitely should leave right now. They should have left a minute ago if they're not going to try to commit to the fight.
Even top and bottom are getting pushed all the way.
This is not the first time they've been indecisive like this, to go towards the shrine, stand there, look at it, and only once it's completely useless to be there, leave. This one wasn't as bad as the previous one, but they do retreat now down, splitting off into all 3 lanes to try to soak for 20. They're almost there.
But luckily, it looks like they may be able to hit 20 fairly soon when the Punisher actually arrives. Until to the keep, I'd say the wall must be gone by that time.
Unlucky for them, the Punisher is arcane, as we see the Fury of the Sunwell exploding twice, giving some more stacks here to BDGs, trying to get this stacked up, but it feels too little too late. Cleanse going down here onto Jungha to keep him alive as the push continues. They've got the Impalers behind them for that extra siege.
And now the Punisher is actually pretty low. GG has been focusing all their damage into the Punisher only, and that's when the APOC connects, Swoy into the Punisher danger zone, but no damage following up there.
He just dropped Storm Shield to keep his team alive as he tries to retreat there, avoiding the explosion zone. Pyro comes down. They're going to have to group up to stop that damage. Does get the shield off. Not going to be enough here. Ooh, they're going to look to engage here. Oh, the Ancestral just barely does not connect onto Noblesse. And I feel like there's now enough reasons to why I could definitively say Avatar absolutely would have been the better choice in this game. GG wants to counter push here to try to end this game. The problem is there's going to be catapults on their core 2, soon to be 3. They decide this is not the right choice. The decision-making macro-wise for GG has been really indecisive throughout this game.
It's not that the decision is bad. It's been a little bit slow with that delay. If that was a little bit more crisp, I feel like they could have caught up a little bit more earlier on with this kind of. As they hit 20, they are about even.
It could have potentially left Tassadar to help deal with that push alone while pushing forward to get a keep wall. They could have gotten something out of the objective, but all they got now was Impalers, which SC will happily just solo clear right now. They're going to get a second cap. They're going to get that Shaman cap to the top. It's going to be Shaman cap versus Shaman cap, so it's going to be neutral, but it will at least relieve some of that top lane pressure as we set up for the next shrine. In fact, if they clear this Shaman cap, which they are in position to do so, this is going to work out really well for them, so they'll have that relieved pressure. The mid lane is something that also they have to deal with. It's not just the top lane that has catapults on it. That was where the previous push was. You can see already Jaehyun is sitting in the mid lane to help deal with that. But L5 just has this massive lead now as we go into this phase. Now let's see actually how they respond to the Shaman camp. Looks like they're going to commit to it first and then rotate down.
Yeah, those are some of the things that really top-tier teams are different from the lower teams. After winning some advantage from the fight, they would actually make the perfect, the most maximum benefit they can actually have after the team fight. While, as you saw from GG, they were indecisive and they couldn't really make too much out of the team fight.
Flamethrower is up here for Kel'Thas. You know, he's just trying to blast everybody down with these insane range flames. As you can see, he's got Fury of the Sun. Well, he's built into this, even at level 7. Doing a lot of extra damage.
GG has pretty good wave on top and mid. They can actually go for this MVDG as gets tossed right in. Gone. Right. Kel'Thas, no damage following up for GG.
Yeah, this is the haymaker they were looking for here this time in the late game, and now with no extra damage here, this looks to be game over. Bolt used defensively for Diablo as he tries to come back and get out. Noblesse jumps in here, gonna blow up Wujie, and now good on the retreat. Going to get taken out here. I believe he doesn't have dimensional shift. Doesn't matter. Dies before he could have used it, even if he did have it. And that will finally be game here. Tychus gets his Master Assassin.
Finally.
It's going to help him finish off the core as Jonga does grab the Molten Core. This end of this game, Janus is going to be the saddest man here.
Haymaker is back now as Diablo just melts away, and that's going to be game and the end of the series as L5 strongly with triple Haymaker coming out from Noblesse. They will take the series 3-0.
22 to 13 kills. This was definitely L5's sloppiest game this tournament. A lot of overextensions on keeps and you know, a lot of over-aggression. We saw that one mid lane push where they got a pick and then ended up losing 2 because they thought they could get a wipe with it. Noblesse's lack of Avatar meant that sometimes when he was killed, because we saw some really good expulsion zones coming out, he couldn't heal himself up to survive for that next Dwarf Toss or the Ancestral to go off. So despite the fact that we saw some really flashy and cool Haymakers, I still stand by. I would have rather seen the Avatar here. But look, they won the game nonetheless. They take the 3-0 win. You can tell there's on the faces a little bit of frustration as that was not as clean as they would have liked.
Yep, of course. But even with those Haymakers, I think he had a pretty good plays, tossing Kel'Thas 2 or I believe even 3 times in the middle of the team fight, and he couldn't really even use that Pyroblast, and it does take some time to cast that heroic for himself.
So I mean, I imagine our MVP will be Noblesse, considering he was the one who had those flashy plays.
Yeah, I think they're gonna call him and ask about what do you think about Haymaker.
I don't know if I'd necessarily agree with calling him the MVP, but I think he's gonna be the one who is interviewed here, and I'm hoping so, because I do want to hear what he has to say about the Haymaker, which we've seen more and more often throughout HGC Korea.
And I also wish they ask about the Q build that he has been building for a couple days of HGC here, and we don't know yet, but maybe it could be Nitrogen on Liming. He has been doing all that flashy plays